fellas, welcome. We've done a few of these ranking streams before, but we haven't really done Wild Rift yet. And right here, I have all of the different Wild Rift champion redesigns. Some of these are far more subtle than others, but some of them did take very drastic design directions compared to their counterparts. And in some cases, these characters who got redesigned, their splash arts were just yoinked with no care in the world as to the fact that they don't even look like that.
Why are you blue?
We're gonna go through all of them today and kind of give general thoughts and impressions. If you're wondering why I sound a bit different in this video, I don't sound as energetic as I usually do. TLDR is I'm dying. Riven is very, very subtle changes, mainly to her little corset here. And they sort of gave her the bit of eyeshadow that they gave her in LOR and in the Awakened cinematic. It's like a weird middle ground between the two. I think Riven having the big eyeshadow is such a cool visual motif that not including that when this was done well afterwards, kind of disappointing. As an improvement, I'd give it a bottom of B for bare minimum. I'd take the LOR or cinematic version over this any day. Big bungus. In terms of an improvement, it is an S. But that's also because League Gragas is just so disgustingly horrible that you had nowhere else to go but up. I think he does a lot better job of showing that he's just a big fat man, but he still looks like he could whoop your ass. So this is a much better version of League of Legends' current existing version of Gragas, but he still carries over all the same design problems. I'd give it an A. Diana. I feel like I have to bundle Diana and Leona together. They're kind of complementary to each other. So there is a much more noticeable thing between them now. Diana has some gold on her and Leona has some silver. There is still that little bit of Lunari influence in Leona, and there's that little bit of Solari in Diana, which is nice. What I don't appreciate much is that Leona still looks like this. You still got the pencil arms, yeah. It's an improvement. I think it's better than the League version, and obviously the artwork. I do like that they added the gold to Diana. It's a weird color scheme for Diana. I guess it makes her look a bit darker, but she's supposed to be the light of the moon. I think they're fine. It's still better than the League version, but I'm not a fan of the Diana. The Weisenheimer.
Oh, balls.
Did they technically invent this design?
No.
This is definitely going for the arcane design. And they like, oh, it's just him without the goggles on. Completely different looking tools even. He still looks a little terrifying, but at least he blinks. So there's sentience behind those eyes. Does Wild Rift even get the credit for this? Or do they get the credit for adapting it to League? Because in that sense, I'd give it like an A. Tolan, the crybaby. They didn't really invent this design either. It's not a one-to-one, but it is closer to the style guide they invented for Talon as opposed to the actual League of Legends Talon. That's mainly noticeable by the design on his hood, by the design on his pauldron, the design of his weapon. Yeah, I mean, immediately you can see the difference, right? Looks like he's in one of those child booster seat straps, you know, or else he'll get shook up in the car. This design's much cleaner looking. Nice boots with a bit of detail, but not too much. I like the stripes going down his arms and his chest there. I'd give Tolan an A though. No scar. Oh, no scar. You're right. Big Blitzcrank. Some of you might be saying, what the hell changed? Look at how round he is. He's so round. Blitzcrank is kind of beautiful because it's all very subtle changes. He was changed lore-wise to be more, he's a good person, or good bot, I guess. And now he's kind of trapped with this kind of clunky old model where all their voice lines are just like,
exterminate, the time of man has come to an end.
I think this kind of proves that Blitzcrank was a good design, just being impacted by a few things that stopped them from being great. I would give this an S. I hope this becomes the standard moving forward, and it really makes me want to see Blitz in 2xKO out of anything. I think I've said this multiple times. He's like my most wanted character in the whole game.
Holy crap, it's real!
What did they do to him? Why the human face? Why no bones? Why is his hair like that? Why did he put little battle axes on the end of his hair? Why anything? Why is his hand still ghost? He had ghost abs before they removed them. Why anything? Why? I hate it. Get it out forever. Moving on. Really had a lot of time to care for his skin, you know? I hate it. That's how I feel when I saw Smooth Brand and I just Unbound Thresh tier. You want a good brand redesign, I think. Ain't that cooler looking? The half mask burning off, like his skin turned into obsidian armor as it burned away from the world runes. You still get some nice patterns. That's pretty sick. Kassadin.
There he is.
Let's get the old Kassadin for comparison. Yeah, so it is a huge improvement. One subtle thing I really like. See that? Yeah, look at the little bits of gold. You see that? Ezreal has one gauntlet of Nazook and Kassadin has the other. So the idea that it's been slowly tainted by the void and is slowly becoming more purple, like that's great. He looks even more like Darth Vader now, doesn't he? I would probably give it an A. I think it's above Heimerdinger. I can't give it an S though. Buzz Lightyear's father. Zerg is Buzz Lightyear from a future timeline. Didn't you see the movie that everyone loved? Hackarim. Look at this goofy goober. They still kept his silly little goofy grin, but I think that's important because Hackarim does revel in the slaughter he commits. Unlike Thresh, looks better without all the random skull imagery. He looks sharp. I think that was a main design motif they went through here. Is every part about him needs to look sharp and dangerous. I think it is a big improvement over the League version for sure though. I'd give it like the lowest S or like really high A. There's good old Corkster. There he is. This is like S++ tier. This is like the best Corki that has ever existed. Makes him look like a Yordle, more convincingly like an old man. The chopper as well looks more like Bandle City with all these curls and spheres. His little Yordle ears are being flattened by the cap. Not only does it look cute, but it helps to mimic like an aviator's cap. The color scheme with the bright, like the blue and the red colors with the brows. Like it is amazing. It's so good, and they use it in the cinematic when they're talking about it, and then in game.
It's a Charlie Foxtrot.
It's just the League model. I truly do not understand. It's a higher quality rendition, but it's still the same. Like, what is that? A Yordle? Is that a man? What am I look? I hate it. Never even real. But please, Flash. And one of my favorite things about him is you don't see it until the end. He's so short. Bard. Is there any changes?
Not this time.
The splash changed nothing, which is confusing because the design did, and you can tell immediately. Tons of decorative patterns everywhere, and I gotta be honest, I don't like it. Bard's a cosmic being, sure, but Bard is literally fashioned out of random instruments and cloth and materials. If you look at them side by side, like look at how much more they added here. And to me, Bard as a character design was already a 10 out of 10. It's like you're trying to improve on perfection and it just doesn't work for me. It's not abhorrent, but it feels like it misses the point of what Bard's supposed to be. It's not an F tier. So I'll give it a D. I think it's worse than Diana. Malphite. So I believe that this is going to be the foundation for the ASU if it ever happens. And clearly this is an improvement. From a purely subjective standpoint, I think Malphite is wonderful. And a lot of that also stems from the personality they gave him LOR and his like father-son relationship that he has with Chip. But at the end of the day, he's just a big rock man. He'll always hold a special place in my heart, but I feel like if I rank this design super highly, that's kind of disingenuous. I'd probably give it a B. I think it's on like the same level as Talon. John Nottaman, on the one hand, doesn't really look like they changed too much. On the other hand, piggy bank coin slot in his forehead. He is missing the rust and the barnacles a lot though, right? Water also has a tendency to do this a lot where they kind of smooth and clean things out a bit, removing all those dirt and barnacles and seaweed. I like it equally to base Nautilus because it has things that I think it does better, but also things it does worse. I'd give it a C. I think it's probably worse than Leona. Janna is fighting an uphill battle here. Wild Rift Janna is absolutely and far and away an improvement over base Janna. Like there's no question. Base Janna looks so horrifically awful.
They're disgusting.
Costuming isn't just a bikini. It does have those elements of gold that tie her to Shurima at least a little bit. But she is still just an elf wizard Inzon. It's an uphill battle, Jana. Wild Rift, I'm sorry. You're not getting any better grade from me when Peak exists at the same time. I'm sorry. Shyvana. Okay, this one's gonna age horrifically within the span of not too long, I hope. Barely changed. And you think like, oh yeah, she did got like dragon claws, right? And then you turn her around and it's...
Oh my god, what is that?
What is Shyvana doing in heels? What is she doing? What does this do for her at all? She's a soldier. Yeah, dragon form gets that the best. Or proportionally, wow, that looks like an actual dragon and not a disheveled bat thing. Oh my god, dude. That is the most disgusting looking dragon I think I've ever seen. It's gonna be weird because we're gonna have to base this off of the rework Shyvana whenever that releases in 2030,000. I would have given it a B, but the heels, man. They nerfed her. Good, because people made that the only single characteristic she had. She's fully Miku. She does go in that direction a bit more. I do like the patterning, not as prevalent on the base one, right? But I think it works better for Sona. One, because she's a performer, but also because Zionia is really known for all of its swirls. But then having it end at a point, she's technically from Ionia, but she's not really a part of it anymore. So having this kind of rigidness to it, like the rigidness of Demacian culture, I think that's very subtle and very clever. I think she looks a lot younger in this version than she does in the League version. Maybe because her face. No thoughts. Zero thoughts. I'd put it next to Gragas, where I think you've made the existing version look a lot nicer. Scion. Scion's redesign is 2 changes, and you will notice them immediately. They've removed all element of red from the furnace and is oh, I don't like being able to see. That's not even, you think like, oh, it's the angle, right? No. Scion got away with looking a bit more cartoonishly evil because he's a zombie. But they tried to make him look more realistic, and now he looks weird. And again, like the removal of the red from his furnace makes it look more like fire, like an actual furnace, I guess. But then he removed that element of blood magic that was used to create him. That's like a D tier for me. That's like another example of a character that didn't need changes, and they gave them changes anyway for the worse. Maokai. He looks so derpy. He looks like friendly Grandpa Tree, which would be fine if we didn't already have friendly Grandpa Tree. Maokai is angry and sad and vengeful and upset that his homeland's been destroyed. He looks too damn clean. He looks like a toy. Maokai is not the character to go this cartoonish. I would give it the Bard treatment, where I think it completely misunderstands what Maokai is even about. Vigar changed one thing. Even if it doesn't fix all of Vigar's, you know, like he's still just a black mage knockoff, but the little ears do so much for him. You can't help not looking at him and not think, aw. And that's exactly what you want from Vigar. He wants to be scary, but he can't beat his nature. That's like a top of that A tier for me. I think they did great with Vigar. Soraka. I think of the Soraka designs that we have, this is the best one of the ones that we have. I think the staff certainly looks way better. I do really like giving her the goat eyes. I am very heavily biased on this one, obviously, because of I redesigned Soraka. And from what I would want Soraka to be, this is not it. It certainly looks better than the base version. I'd probably put it next to Leona. Severe. I need a T-pose because she's just scrunching up. Mostly a lot of subtle differences. She still doesn't really look like she's dressed for the desert, which is kind of a problem. She's got like, you know, the thighs and the midriff and stuff, right? Still, she's going more for being badass. I think I've said similar things about Gragas and Sona, where like it's better versions of the League version. They could have gone so much further. So how many times have I had this song and dance where I have gone on my rantings and rambles? I think when people say that the new Victor design is terrible, I think
That's a lie.
this design is so f***ing cool. The problem is they didn't adapt it to League of Legends well. The model got everything wrong, but the thing is, it could always get worse.
No! No!
Wild Rift Victor is the worst version of Victor on the market, and it's not even close. Why the pupils? Why is he so purple? Why is his crotch area a different color? What is going on? This is terrible. Vladimir. It is clear as day that this is an improvement over base Vladimir. Does it mean that I like it?
No.
They did change a lot. That does work. The clothing, I think, it's still a bit goofy and a bit outlandish, but it's got more Noxian elements to it, even though it should probably be more Black Rose inspired than Noxian. Yes, but that is the problem, is because now we have something to compare it to, and yep, that's my Vladimir. Also, Wild Rift sensors turned all of his blood into red goop. Unavoidable with the sensors, I guess, but I will hold that against you, Wild Rift Vladimir. I will hold against that the Blood Mage cannot use blood magic. Garen. Here they try to make him look bright and shining silver and this really bright gold. And you get this little family crest, right? By the nature of what kind of character he is, will never escape that of just being a basic soldier guy. It's good. You did good with what you got. It's like same with these guys. Nocturne. I simultaneously really like it and also really don't. I think this is a fantastic improvement on League of Legends Nocturne. Changing the armor into these like weird crystalline structures, the fact that arm blades are connected by all these grasping hands, but it still has all the same fundamental design problems that base Nocturne has. So why does he have armor at all? Why is there so much red glowing when he's a shadow man in the dark? It's better than LOR's, we just made it purple. I would give it like an A. So, might surprise you, Mbessa did in fact get a redesign on Wild Rift. What is that redesign, you may ask? It's literally just the mask. The weird thing is that we wanted this toggle to be able to turn the mask on and off. On PC, we can't put it on. On Wild Rift, they can't take it off. But you want to know something really weird? You remember TFT? And it's even weirder because they didn't change her splash art to give her the mask. This is gonna sound kind of insane, but I'm putting it up here. And by that, I mean, give me the ability to toggle the mask, Riot. Giuliano, oh boy. Very, very obviously, this is taking inspiration from LOR. One key distinguishing characteristic that they changed, but also what they added to it. The tucked in beard is so good. Adds so much character to him. Here, did he gel up his beard? I think it's kind of just to match the base Zillion, right? Where he had like this, oh my god. Do you see what I mean when I say that the Wild Rift version is having some of those bard isms? They just add too much excessive detail where it's really not needed. All of this patterning at the bottom, these gold trimmings. Zillion is someone who is very, very important. But Zillion is also, he has like no ego. When I see something like this, these kind of more simple robes, he's got these decorations here, but they feel more symbolic. Here, why does he have a golden neck pillow? Am I crazy? Gives off the vibe that he thinks he's also very important. It kind of lessens the impact, I think, of his character. Very clearly it's taking inspiration after LOR, but also missing a lot of what made the LOR version so great. I can't give it anything higher than a B. Kalista. I think Kalista is the best Wild Rift redesign in the game. Every piece of armor is different across her whole body. And that adds so much to the chaos, the insanity that's going on in her mind, how many different kinds of people that she is great. They did a fantastic job with Kalista. Yeah, Kalista looks great. Zyra. I think she looks a lot better. I think the addition of the extra color helps. And I do like the way that they use the plants. If you like base Zyra, this is probably like the best Zyra that's ever existed. And the best Zyra is still Poison Ivy. Am I being too harsh on these two? I'll keep them there. Syndrome. I think Syndra has the exact same thing as Zyra. Syndra has always been, for me, a character that exists where like she is one of, if not the most powerful beings in all of Ionia. And what that looks like is He-Man villain. I can't take Syndra seriously at all. Nothing about her looks like she's from Ionia. I do like how she's got this kind of like the hex magic going through her fingers there, corrupting it. And I do really like as well, they incorporate a lot of Ionian curves and swirls in her armor to really make it look like it's actually from Ionia. They kept all the kind of core fundamental things that made Syndra who she was. I think it's the best version of Syndra that exists, bar none. I would put in the same bracket as these guys. I think it's better than Zyra though. And then we get Ashe, the very last one. This is quite nice. Keeps a lot of the things that Ashe is known for, but it does improve a lot of things. Problem is that this one then has to compare. Boom. That's all the colors you need. You just need the brown, the blue, and the white furs trimming everything, like Freljord. And I get that Ashe is an Iceborn, but they're not immune to the cold. They're just resistant to it. I think the only character that gets a pass for this kind of clothing in Freljord is Braum, because he's like a living folk hero. That's literally his whole thing. He's supposed to be larger than life. Still here, Ashe is like, that's the peak version. This one is good. I put it next to Tolan. There you go, fellas. There is my tier list for the Wild Rift redesigns. That's how for videos taking way too goddamn long to come out, because since that last part of the stream was recorded, a bunch of new Wild Rift redesigns have been revealed, including Kog'Maw and Nidalee, as well as I kind of forgot about Vel'Koz, so let's go back to look at them. We can start with Vel'Koz because it's barely any different. There's a reason I skipped over him. The differences between him is mainly slightly in color palette and the chitinous material, the bone-like structures on his body. Really, it's more like texture updates, although in the model, he looks a bit sharper, especially the parts on the side and on his head. And the differences in the model quality as well, right, with the eye texturing and such, but it's barely a redesign. And I don't think Vel'Koz really needed one. I actually think Vel'Koz is a great example of the Void in its almost most primal state. That's why even as generic as Kha'Zix is, I kind of like that they represent two different sides of the Void, where Kha'Zix is the most adapted. It almost looks like it actually comes from Runeterra, whereas Vel'Koz is so twisted and alien, it doesn't look like anything that could really exist. So I like him as he is, and I don't think they need to change very much. Probably goes in a C. I don't really care much for it, nor do I think it was even necessary in the first place. Now on to the Void Boy, Kog'Maw. This is actually... Jesus. Ishtal or Bandle City get their own background, but Void doesn't even get a recolor. It's crazy. Speaking of recolor, that's basically what they've done to Kog'Maw. Although they did adjust the patterning of the chitin on his body to be similar to that of Vel'Koz. He doesn't have that same patterning as he does in the League model, even if they tried to do it a little bit. For some reason, they made his little antenna crystalline. They made his eyes almost entirely purple. You can't even really see the irises in there like you would have before. I don't know if it's because of the preview model, but they kind of made him look a bit angry, which is strange to me because that's not really the characterization he has. To be fair, the whole characterization of Kog'Maw being the Void Puppy was something that the community imprinted upon him. Though weirdly, it's like Bard, where they didn't change the splash art at all, so he still has this splash art where he has this predominantly gray color palette, and he still has the brown eyes, which is something that they added to him in the model update some many years ago. I would have thought they would have gone with this color palette because it is very distinct. It makes him look a bit less Voidborn, admittedly, and they tried to circumvent that with the purple. It's like a lot of Wild Rift redesigns where it feels like there are improvements, but also we went backwards in a lot of ways. We didn't really make any progress. I'd give it a C. I'll put it next to Vel'Koz, actually. At least with Vel'Koz, it feels like he didn't need the redesign. With Kog'Maw, it feels like they don't really know what they want to do with him in the first place, which actually, now that I'm looking at this again, it's been a while since I looked at this. I'd probably switch some things around. And now we get the big one, which thankfully wasn't just me that was absolutely befuddled by this decision. It makes sense why they didn't do it for Janna or Master Yi or Morgana, because they were already in Wild Rift by the time that LOR made their redesigns. But with Nidalee and Zilean, it made perfect sense. Everyone loves those new designs. So to see them take a really strange direction and they just screw it, we're gonna make our own version. And don't get me wrong, this is a massive improvement over base Nidalee, but that is a stupidly low bar to clear. Base Nidalee is essentially just a racist caricature, so you didn't really have much where else to go but up, and they did incorporate some things to tie her to the region of Ishtal, though weirdly enough, she looks more like she actually is from Ishal-Khan, which is the actual city with all the gold and green ornaments, or emerald ornaments all over her. She looks a lot more decorated, like she's wearing actual clothes, which is close to what you have in the base base version. But the reason that LOR version was so cool is because she had all these markings all over her, but it looked a lot more like the clothes was just made of the twigs and grass and vines and furs around her because she lives in nature. And adding the whole things like the clawed feet and the ears, it ties her close to her Vestayan ancestry, even though she's not a Vestaya herself, as well as the Paka form, which, you know, before the longest time it was just a cougar, but they actually tried to make it into its own species. And the Paka looked so goddamn cool, so intimidating. And then Wilder said,
"That's a weird looking cat."
And especially strange because it's not like people dislike this design. Obviously there's gonna be people that don't like it, but this design was most universally praised. I remember when the new set came out for LOR and they had Nico, Nidalee, and Poro King, which Poro King was an established character everyone already liked. Everyone didn't give a single rat's ass about Poro King or even Nico at the time. Everyone was transfixed on Nidalee because the design was such a massive improvement. So it feels incredibly backwards just to make your own version that's, yeah, an improvement from the base, but just doesn't even compare to the LOR version. I'm absolutely bewildered that they went in this direction, and I would probably put her in C. I really think this is a horribly missed opportunity. As far as what my excitement is for any potential future redesigns Wild Rift does, I think compared to the redesigns that spin-off games or what LOR did, even what 2XKO does to some extent, like the redesigns they have with Teemo or slight fixes with Warwick, I think that game has a better handle of how to make adjustments to the character that still feel important and impactful and true to who those characters are. Wild Rift just seems to want to do its own thing half the time, and, you know, more power to them. Just the only issue for me will be is if Wild Rift actually ends up becoming the precursor to League of Legends 2. I really don't want this Vladimir in the game, you guys.